guys today?
Doing great. We just got into town.
Awesome. So this tour, obviously you just come off the back of the headline tour that you did in December. How do you feel that tour went for you, with Apologies to Have None and Hostage to Come?
We thought it was great. I mean, we didn't know what to expect. We obviously, we haven't been around in a while. Shows were good. People came out, small clubs, and we were able to kind of play a long set for them. And I think everyone had a really good time. It was a nice first taste again for us to get back into the swing of things over here.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're over here supporting and just doing work over here, trying to build something.
Because you played your very ever first shows in the UK, right? As a band, as I remember.
First show was at the Kingston Peel.
Yeah. So why did you decide to do that when you first started, as opposed to touring in the States?
It was about time to start thinking about putting on shows, and we actually didn't have a band at the time. We had a few guys that we knew of, a few of us that were going to be playing, but I booked the show. There was an offer to do a few shows, and I thought, well, it might be really cool to have our first shows be here in the UK. So I accepted the offer and then finished putting together the band.
Sweet, cool. So how did this tour come about? Because obviously to go from playing 200, 300 cap venues a night to then going to play academy-sized venues,
right?
Is that kind of weird for you? I mean, you was only obviously 3 months ago. Is that weird to then on the first show of this kind of come out and go from playing at the Peel to then come out and then there's oh hello, 2,000 people staring at you?
Yeah. I mean, I think we excel in a smaller room.
Yeah.
But you learn a lot from doing these tours. I mean, you learn how to put on a show in front of huge crowds of people who have no idea who you are.
Yeah.
Which is a really hard thing to do for a band. But this came about. I saw that brand new. I saw dates get announced for brand new over here, and I texted Brian, their drummer, and said, hey, let's have Avalanche on the tour, and then he said yes, and then that was it.
Simple as that.
No booking agents needed.
That's cool. So since obviously Avalanche United come out, how do you think it's been received? Obviously online it's huge, and kind of in England I've not really seen a record take off that quick from the point of it being out and then the shows being packed essentially every day.
I mean, it seems like everyone loves it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read a bit about, I've read some reviews and stuff like that. It seems like everyone's giving it a great review and a great rating, and I think at this point everyone's just kind of the people that are really diehard into our band, which is generally how our fans are. There's not thousands of them, but the hundreds of them are in each city or whatever it is they're really they get angry when people don't know who we are. So our fans do a lot of the spreading of the word, it seems.
Yeah, I ask them pretty much at every show. I'm like, well, how do you like the record? And everyone's just ecstatic about the whole thing. So. Yeah,
because there seems to be kind of that underlying tone of you guys being associated with kind of English culture, with the album being called Avalanche United as well, obviously. So where does that kind of come from? Is that?
It comes from the style of music, that's for sure. It's meant to be a fun punk record. It's almost a drinking record. I mean, it's not a drinking record, but it could very well be, and I think it is for a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people get together and listen to our tunes and party with their friends, and but the whole Avalanche United thing, and it some of it definitely comes from me growing up playing soccer, football, and being into English football, and that kind of being one of my main interests.
Yeah.
So the imagery of that is perfect for a record of this style of music. So that all came together way too easy. So
I suppose it's kind of refreshing also for obviously a lot of American bands focus on American culture. Do you get that from the American fans? They go, oh, why is it about kind of English or football at all?
No, and they don't seem to care. I mean, the way Americans view it is it's just a togetherness thing. It's my friends, my family, music, friends, family, partying.
Yeah, like a H2O sort of scenario.
Exactly,
Yeah.
like just like a family vibe is really what I think everyone else is getting over there.
Yeah, they don't really see the European football like stigma or the like the UK stuff over there. And that's kind of why it has like that double feeling. Over here they can really associate it with that, but in the States it's more about what the record's about, like family and friends
Yeah.
and sticking together.
Yeah, there's actually nothing about soccer at all on it. It's just it has that
what it's
little
called.
flavor to it. That flavor of that camaraderie and that kind of togetherness that cities have when they support their teams
Yeah, yeah.
and the way they feel about them. And that's kind of what we became like, on this record we became like the team that you're meant to support.
Yeah.
We're Avalanche United and you're part of it,
That's cool. So when you first came back, I remember there was like a statement you put out as to why you came back, and I looked for that last night and I couldn't find it anywhere. But correct me if I'm wrong, but it said something about this is why we're coming back. We went away for a while, and then there was a section in there that kind of I agreed with heavily. You said you were kind of embarrassed by the way that bands were doing stuff in the scene at the time, and that's why you came back.
No, I mean we came back. I mean, sure, there's great music happening right now. I think in general in punk music, in American punk music, there's a resurgence of really great bands. Bands that aren't doing trendy things.
Yeah.
Bands that are making good punk music that's meaningful, sincere. We kind of wanted to show up and be like, this is how we do it. We have a lot of confidence with our band and with our songwriting, and we just feel like we can hang with anybody. We can make records that are up there with the best punk records being released that year. That's just the way we feel about what we're doing, and we feel like we're just kind of on a good roll. And we took some time off. We toured for 3 years. We all were way into hanging out at home and just enjoying life, and we all worked jobs, made some money, which it's very hard to do in a band.
Yeah.
It was just time. The record was done being written. We found a new label. The Rat had gotten to a point where he was, at a level where he could produce records, and all that came together at the same time. And then, this guy right here single-handedly produced the entire record.
That's amazing. Is that good to have that sort of control over that?
It's kind of scary. Knowing that I have that much control over the piece of art that we're making together. Usually we leave that second, opinion to a producer, but it feels good in the end knowing that we did it all on our own.
Yeah.
Which is how it should be from the start.
So it's kind of a completely independent DIY ethic that goes into it as well.
And even though we have people that work with us as a band, managers, booking agents, it's for us they're like part of the band. They're like our family. Pretty much everyone that works with Avalanche is friends or family. It's like it's one big cohesive unit.
Yeah.
And everybody gets it. Everybody that we work with understands what our goals are and the way we want to be perceived and what our music means. And anybody who doesn't get it quickly gets kind of pushed aside.
Yeah. Do you think there's I was kind of talking to this with older bands before, that kind of when NoFX and Bad Religion, they're all obviously 33 years pushing it like live as bands, even like bands like the Bounce themselves, it's 24 years this year. They're eventually going to stop touring and die off. Do you not think there's a severe lack of kind of honest punk bands such as yourself that are kind of there to replace them, so to speak?
I think it's coming up now.
Yeah.
Right now is kind of the resurgence of that in America, of bands. Instead of hearing bands that are influenced by another awful band and just doing trendy, recycled, terrible music, what have you. I'll be very vague, but bands like who's doing it in the States right now with great punk music.
Title Fight,
Yeah.
Polar Bear Club,
Title Fight, Polar Bear Club, Make Two Amends,
Transit,
Red City Radio, Dear Landlord,
Man Overboards.
Off with Their Heads. And I don't think necessarily, and there's so many more bands that we could list, but I don't think that necessarily we fit in with any of those bands either. But I think that they could all say the same about themselves too. Like, we all play punk music in our own way, and I think people are appreciating that. I mean, it's cool to see a 15-year-old kid get into that genre of music and these up and coming bands than like what could be way worse. You know what I mean? Like what could be like a 15-year-old kid could get steered in the wrong direction. Next thing you know, they're just like covered in eyeliner and wearing terrible T-shirts
Neon
that all look the
clothes,
same. And
Yeah, I mean that stuff never lasts anyways. You know, it always has a shelf life. You know, when you make music from the heart with passion, it sticks around, and it's kind of the reason why we're still a band and still going to be a band for a long time. It's because we know we're doing something right. We're confident that music we make is important to people's lives. You know, and you know throughout the year. It's not just for that year. You know, we're not writing music just for 14-year-olds. You know, we're writing music for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys were around, I mean obviously you've been around a kind of veteran seasoned punk, so to speak. Do you kind of see the difference between the scene back in like '05 when you kind of stopped touring or whatever and then kind of come back? And do you see the difference in the scene in like the last 5 or 6 years?
Totally. It was a perfect time for us to take a break.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like annoying like synthesized pop music happening, terrible haircuts and all image, no substance, all trying to get signed to major labels under the guise of, you know, the word punk shouldn't even be associated with that kind of thing. But like all that was happening and all these pop acts were just, you know, getting huge with little like 12-year-old girls being really excited about them, and none of that music really meant anything, and it was good to go away. It was good to just let them have that, because that would just go away in a year, which it did. Not that there's still not bands like that, and it's fine, like, you know, we're not one to like talk badly about specific bands or anything like that, but you know, that's not the kind, they're obviously not making music for me to listen to. So for us to come back and release a record that in this current state where punk music is flourishing, it's a really good thing. And it's cool to get the respect from these bands too, you know, like there's all these bands that we love, like they all seem to be into our band, they all come out to our shows.
Yeah.
It's a good community of, it's definitely a good community of like talented, ambitious people, and people that aren't trying to be trendy, they're just trying to make music that means something to them.
You said that you were working on new stuff already from the last album. Was that kind of an overhaul from before that you carried over, or is it completely fresh
No, it's
after
all fresh.
Avalanche?
All new music. We've had a few practices where we jammed on some new music. We all have a few songs on deck ready to go, and we have off a bit in May and a bit in July and probably some more in the fall. And by that time, I'd say by the early fall, we'll have the record completely written, and we'll record it in the winter.
Yeah, we're gonna go in the winter and hash it out.
And you'll do it again?
Might bring in some more friends, but
Yeah, I think the Rat's always going to be involved, but we may be collaborating with some other people. I don't know, we'll see. It's kind of up in the air right now.
It'll
It's
still
so
always
far away.
It's still always family though. It's like anyone that we bring in, it's people we already know and worked with, and we know their music. And, you know, they're people we pretty much consider members in a sense.
There won't be any like producer coming in and like changing anything.
No, because a lot of bands need that in their band, because obviously they argue a lot or whatever and they can't get it through, and they need that kind of middleman to like help them through to record.
Right.
Because it seems like at the minute in the last 5 to 10 years that everyone's recording with like Bill Stevenson at Blasting Room,
Yeah,
and
right.
it's like
And he's amazing.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah.
If we made a record with Bill, it would be huge.
Yeah.
It would be great.
Trust me, we've talked about that before.
We have talked about doing a record with Bill Stevenson one day, but I don't know. I mean, it could be ignorant and it could be naive to say, but I think we just made a great record.
Yeah.
Nobody stepped in the way. Nobody gave any input at all except us. And I don't know. We know when the chorus needs to be longer. We know what the chord progression needs to be. I know the way I'm supposed to sing it. I know, you know, like, we know, you know, as far as pre-production goes, that's what band practice is for us.
Yeah.
We know exactly what we need to trim and what we need to not trim, and if this chorus needs to be shortened and then the end needs to be longer, and
Yeah, we think very alike. like and we communicate very well. It's almost like, you know, if we play a part a few times and it's not vibing, sometimes like I'll look at calendar or we'll look at each other and be like, oh, we should do this. Be like, yeah, I was about to say that. It's very, we're very cohesive as a band. Like we all kind of know what we want and how to get there, and it just.
And when we go into very self-indulgent parts that a producer would clearly cut out.
Yeah.
We're like, that's exactly what we want.
Yeah.
This is what we want. It's not, you know.
It's something we wouldn't let.
It's not going to be a hit.
Yeah, because I was kind of always worried when those demos came out. We would listen to them on the way back in London on the bus, and we were like, I wonder what they're going to be like. And there really wasn't that much difference. A few gang shouts here and there, but like it's kind of cool that they kind of stayed the same. Obviously,
I think the structure generally stayed the same. I think the performance on all of it is all better though.
Yeah.
Which is definitely important. You don't want like a demo to like outshine your record.
No.
You don't want your songs to leak in the first place.
Yeah, those weren't meant to be put anywhere.
We were not happy when the songs got out. Not because we didn't want people to have music, but because they were demos. They weren't ready to be presented.
Same with Brand New are like that as well, aren't they? The exact same sort of scenario. They don't like their music to get out. I think they put up like a fake album once, just so people would download that and not the actual thing, which is weird.
We were able to do it this time. I think our record leaked like a day before.
It leaks the day before it's streamed on a website. I think I don't know which one, but so it was only out for a day before everyone in the world could hear it.
Which in this day and age is amazing.
I wonder if it knows our name.